So last week we drafted this fun bubble skirt here in Clo3D, and it is time to sew it together. Hi, I'm Christina, and I love to digitally apparel pattern, creating unique pieces of wearable art. And I'm so excited to sew this thing together in Clo3D so we can see what it would look like on our avatar. So let's get started. I'm going to bring up my Clo dashboard, and if you enjoy videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so that you can find other ways of digitally pattern drafting and other tips and tricks for patterning as well as sewing. So I have my board here all set up and ready to go. First thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring up my 3D screen. So last week I was just working in the 2D screen because I was just working on the pattern. This week I actually need to bring in an avatar and get all that stuff ready. So as you can see, my 3D window is blank. So we're going to go ahead and bring in an avatar. Let it load. There we go. All my pattern pieces are quite far apart, so we're going to bring them in at least a little bit closer. And then let's actually get her to the size. I think I'm working with a 2. If you aren't 100% sure, I can always go in and check. Let's see here. Grab just that. 13.5 roughly would be about 27 inches. We can go in and check my avatar's waist. Wrist, waist, 26 3/4. So it might be a little tight. There's not a lot of ease on her, but that's okay. So we will work with that. So now what we need to do is we actually need to place all the different pattern pieces on her. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by adding her little dots. So these dots will actually come up and it will help place the items on her. So I know this is the back, so we're going to flip around and go to the back and we'll pull that. That's also curving quite a bit. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to oh, nope, that was the position. Offset, there it is. We're going to straighten that out. I still want to leave a little bit of a curve. Actually, maybe I don't. Yeah, we're going to leave it flat. And I'm just going to move it there. Then I'm going to grab that guy and place it on the waist. We can pull it out and pull it up just a little bit so we can easily see that. Next, we're going to grab the waist. And as you can see, because these are actually symmetrically linked, I placed one and it automatically placed the other. So we're going to do the same thing with those skirts. Again, they're going really curved. We're going to change them from curved to flat and pull them off. Just like so. Close enough. Then we have these guys. So if you ever get totally lost, you can always hit your home button, which is 2. And I actually want to take off the dots because I am just going to place this on my avatar like that. Then we're going to place this next one. And rotate her. Boop. Like so. Okay, now, because her hands are so low, we might have issues with the seam I think we are going to have issues. So we're going to pull up. Come on. Oh, it's because that's in the way. We're going to move that just a little bit. There we go. Now let's look at some of these poses. Is there one? Well, we can go totally arms up. Oh. And it's simulated. So what we're going to do is we're going to freeze. Just to go quickly, we're going to freeze all of our patterns. Arms up pattern. Oh, pose and joint. That's what I wanted. I just didn't flip it. There we go. Up. Now we're going to unfreeze. Activate. There it is. Unfreeze. Why weren't you letting me unfreeze all of them? Can I unfreeze all of you? Okay, now they should all be unfrozen and back to the normal. Looks good. Cool. So the next thing I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to move this pattern piece over here because that's the back pattern piece. And I want to make sure that when I'm sewing the two pattern pieces, I'm sewing the front pattern pieces to the front pattern pieces and the back pattern pieces to the back. If you kind of crisscross and mishmash them, it's not going to be good. So definitely don't do that. So now I'm also going to close some of these windows so I have a little bit more space to play. And we're going to start sewing. So we'll sew all the ones that we know are full lengths. So we're going to sew our center fronts. And then we're going to sew that one to that one, and this one to this one. Perfect. So now before we get going, earlier, because we did the darts, you can see actually my pattern is sewing those darts together, and we don't want those to be sewn. So we're going to take those off so that it does not pop in and do anything wonky like that. There's one thing you definitely have to watch, especially when you're doing with those darts. You want to make sure that you don't have some accidental sewing. A lot of times when I'm actually manipulating darts, I will grab my sewing tool right after I do it and delete it all so that I don't have to go back and think about it later. So that's just one thing to kind of think about and consider. Not 100% necessary. So then we're going to grab our side seam. Go to our other side seam. Like so. We got our side seams now. And we're going to do our front or our waistband to our waist. And same here. Now I only have to do the half because this is an unfolded symmetric pattern. So you only have to do the half on the back, just like you only had to do the half on the front. Next, what we're going to do is we're actually going to sew this half of the pattern to, we're going to have to see if that's going to be cranky. I might have to undo the symmetric sewing, but we're going to sew that to that. Looks good. You can always go in and check and make sure it's doing what you want in there. Looks good. Then we're going to go this side to this side. Looks good. There is a little bit of twisting right there with a space that I don't know why it's doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete it and try again, because I don't know why it's doing that. It might not mess it up at all. It might just be kind of a little glitch. Well, it did again. So we're just going to have to see what it does in the end. So now we're going to do the same thing with the back pattern. So we're going to sew that side to this side. Make sure that's the right side. Yep. So because I have those so close, let's actually pull those out. Whoops. Control Z is my friend. So we're going to just grab that guy. I did not want to twist. I want to pull. I just want to pull it out a little bit so I can double check it, make sure it's looking good. Looks good there. We're going to go back to our sewing. We're going to sew that side like that. Awesome. Then the last thing we have to do is we have to sew the waist to the waist. So we're going to sew that one to right on top of that guy. And then we're going to do the other side. Now there is a double seam right there, so you have to remember that. Boop, 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 all the way across. You always want to make sure that you're starting at the same end and that the notches end at the same side. So then you can all go in and double check, make sure everything's looking good. The last thing I need to sew, I almost forgot, is my waistband together. If you don't sew that waistband together, you're not going to, it won't stay up. Well, it might stay up because of the rest of it, but we want to make sure that waistband is definitely staying there. Okay, so everything is looking good. So we're going to get her in full view here. We're going to go ahead and test and hope that I sewed everything correctly. Let's go. So I didn't quite get it. So let's undo that. So it might be, let's go back home. Let's double check some of my lengths really fast. So my avatar size, her waist is 26.875. Should be about 27. So that should be good. So the other thing that we can do, I'm going to move my face for a minute. The other thing that you can do is you can actually draw on your avatar and kind of hold your skirt right onto her. Oh, let's see here. It's one of these ones down here. Attach to measure. So first we got to actually measure it. So we're going to, where can I click that button? So we actually want to do a circumference measure. Yep, so we want to do around like so. Whoop, get it hitting that line, click it, there we go. Then we're going to click attach to measure. And what we're going to do is we're going to click our pattern first and then click that. And you'll see it's turning red as it clicks on. So then we're going to do that and click on to there. That looks like it only did half, so we're going to do the other half. And now it's all red. So you can see how the very top of this pattern is actually now red. So when I simulate, so let's back off just a little bit, pull up, and when I back off and we simulate, there it goes, stays up top, and there we have our cute little bubble skirt hem. Look at how cute she looks. We do have just a little bit of funkiness like right there, it looks like. And I can't tell if that's just how it's laying down or if that is actually part of that twisting in the seaming that I was seeing earlier. So I don't know if that is part of that twisting in that seaming or if that's just kind of what it is. But I think she turned out pretty darn cute for what it is. I love being able to kind of see what it is. This bubble hem is a little bit longer. When I first started, I did not shorten my skirt to start with. So it's a little bit longer of a bubble hem skirt than I would normally actually make. So we could actually go in pretty quickly and probably edit this to be a shorter bubble skirt if you want. But I might do that in another video once we actually kind of get into that a little bit more. But if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can see other ways on how to digitally apparel pattern and how you can create your own pieces of wearable art. I look forward to seeing you in some of my other videos. Happy patterning!